Good morning, everyone. We are live, like we do every Wednesday here at Home Built Workshop. Welcome. Welcome to Wednesday Live. Welcome to Home Built Workshop. I hope your day's going amazing so far. It is a nice day here. Looks like it's going to be a pretty decent day, pretty decent week here weather-wise. We're settled in for an hour or so of hanging out, talking shop, talking fun stuff, and just hanging out with each other. So what is everybody up to this fine Wednesday? Charlie's here. Charlie says greetings from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Greetings, Charlie. How's everything going in Massachusetts? Sorry, I'm just getting settled in here. Give me just a second. Forgot to switch this thing to quiet. Well, everybody's tuning in and talking amongst yourselves. All right. Bear with me just 1 second, guys. Sorry, what in the world? No, I don't want it to play stuff. Hang on. I'm all out of sorts here for a second. How unprofessional. What's everybody up to while you're typing it in? And all right, there. Sorry about that. How unprofessional of me. All right, back to what you guys are up to. Let's see here. Adalo's here. Greetings from South Korea. 00 a.m. Welcome. I hope your early morning is going great. Neptune says hello all. Harry dude, what's up? Neptune's Texas here. Mike, morning, Mike. Neptune says, Harry dude. Charlie says, can't complain. Nobody would listen. How's the weather on the coast there? Cape Cod is pretty cool. I've been there once. Many moons ago. I'd like to get back up that way. I like that New England area. Uh-oh. What's that? Spam call or something. No, I don't need an extended car warranty. Sorry. Harry dude, it says Neptunes, how are you? Mike says BRB, need a drink. Me too. There we go. Neptune says, did you say something, Charlie? Neptune's is good. Charlie says, sunny and chilly. Right on, right on. Well, welcome, everybody. Let's start this off with what's on your workbench? Or what projects do you have in the works? Like we almost always do. I like to know what you guys are working on. We'll get to what I'm working on here in just a few minutes. Why is this thing not... Oh, boy. There we go. Okay, so... How many of you saw the Sidebender video last weekend? Super happy with the way that thing turned out, and I can't wait now to put that sucker to work. I've been messing around with it, kind of seeing if there's things that I want to fine-tune already. But so far, I'm super happy with it, and it's ready. It's ready to start start working on some acoustic guitar sides. Tanmay says, hello, I'm new here. Well, welcome. Welcome. Glad you were able to tune in. Since you're new, just a quick rundown. Usually the Wednesday lives, I do these, well, every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. It's just an hour or so of us hanging out, talking about what you guys are working on, talking about what I'm working on, and, just hanging out with each other, having a good time, sharing some laughs, some coffee or whatever your beverage of choice is, and we just hang out and talk shop and stuff like that for a while. It could be, it's open conversation. If you got a question about anything, feel free to ask it. Whatever the project you're working on or whatever kind of question you want to ask, go right ahead. There's no really, set itinerary. It's just an hour, like I said, of us hanging out and just chatting with each other, and always a good time. And yeah. So feel free. You got a question or project you're working on, share your projects. If you got something you're working on, we all enjoy hearing what each other's working on, and it's just kind of think of it as, I don't know, a bunch of us just sitting around a campfire and hanging out. We just happen to talk about shop stuff from time to time. But welcome. Charlie says, waiting for warmer weather to assemble my 150 Journeyman X50. Oh man, it's going to be cool. It's going to be cool. Yep, I'm going to be firing mine up for the project that I'm working on right now, just for a couple of simple parts, nothing super crazy, but yeah, you got to get that thing set up. Super cool machine. So fun finding all of the different uses and things you can do with it. Kind of like it's kind of how I use my 3D printer as well. Making so many different little things, but you're gonna find that the 3D printer is the same way, or the CNC machine is the same way. Jigs, fixtures, templates, parts, pieces, finished products. Sky's the limit. Neptune says, I'm trying to work on programming a hydroponics monitoring system with touchscreen control on Arduino. That sounds really cool and a little bit over my head. Really, just because I have zero experience with an Arduino. I bought one, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, because there was a project that I wanted to try to do with it, but the project never came to fruition. And I ended up selling it. But maybe one day I'll get back to trying something with an Arduino. Mike says, some of us just like stoking the campfire. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Because, well, most of the time, if we're actually around a campfire, that's what I like to do. I like to just sit there, watch the fire, throw some more logs on the fire, and yeah. But, we're getting a little bit of stuttering here on the video. Let me see if I can reposition this thing so it's a little more clear line of sight. So hang on. This is going to be a little shaky. Ah! Sorry about that. Let's try that. I don't know if that'll make any difference or not. I only moved it about an inch or so, but there's like one spot where it's a really good line of sight for internet stuff. So I don't know if we're there or not. Let's see. Neptune says, speaking of 3D printer, I won't be able to make it to Colorado for the Rep Festival. Well, darn it. That's okay. I'm sure there will be more. Hopefully you can get up here one of these days, and then we can catch up, because that'd be awesome. Harry Dude says, would like to get into Arduino. I used to do some microcontroller stuff many years ago, mainly 8051 based. I'm not familiar with 8051. I haven't done anything with those little microcontroller dealios. The Arduino and the Raspberry Pi, and other sorts of small, tiny things like that. But I mean, I've messed with a little teensy bit of PLC controllers, you know, for the when I worked in the you know, maintenance and repair type field. We had some machines that were controlled by PLCs, and I'm a little bit of, I've done a tiny bit of that, but it's been many years, and I probably couldn't even remember how to do that, or at least it would take me quite a while. Charlie says, "What do you do with your CNC?" I've been making a lot of parts. If you saw the guitar side bender, I'm pointing at it like you guys can see. It's sitting right there. But oh, why do I do that? If you saw the video where I made the acoustic guitar side bender, I cut out several of the parts with that, you know, the ones that were more contoured and shaped. And, you know, just that kind of thing, you know, drawing up parts, cutting things out. Soon I will be cutting out, fingers crossed, cutting out guitars. I'm working on transferring my existing shapes, guitar shapes, over to digital. Trying to get everything exact is taking me a little bit of time. I'm also working on a completely from scratch Haley Guitars bass, and that is drawn completely in the 3D software, but I plan to you know, be able to build guitars, cut out necks, cut out bodies, all of that sort of thing. That's the main reason that I wanted the CNC, was to be able to do guitars that way. But I'm also finding, you know, just so many other things to use it for. And I know for a fact that I haven't even scratched the surface yet. But yeah, so far it's just been awesome, and you will probably find bazillions of uses for it. Yeah, but right now I've just been cutting out parts and stuff like that. Soon to be guitars. We're still getting some video stuttering. Stop it. Yeah, it's stuttering pretty bad. Hopefully it's not on your end. Neptune says that would be cool. And the volume went down. How did the volume go down? There's not even a volume control on this that I'm aware of. Let me see. I don't think, what's this? There's a mute microphone button, and that's all I got. Interesting. Hopefully it comes back. Tanmay says, how should I go about building it if it's possible? Some advice would be really appreciated. Hold on. There's some comments missing here for some reason. Let me switch to live. Make sure I'm not missing something. Tanmay, what is it you're working on? I don't see. I might have missed the comment or something, but I'm scrolling up. I don't see it. Let me know what you're working on, and we'll see if we can figure it out. What are you trying to build? And we will offer as much helpful advice as we can. Mike says volume's fine. Neptunes, turn your hearing aids up. That's weird. Neptune says must be on my end. Harry Dude says volume went down for me too. Like there's an audio expander on the mic. Interesting. I'm not even using an external mic this time. I'm using the built-in mic. I need to try, you know what I need to try? I need to try the little wireless lapel deals and see if that makes any difference. One of these days, maybe next week I'll try it. Dallo says I had a bit of trouble flattening the side profile for the top, possibly because I didn't line up the sides parallel when I bent the sides in the jig. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, so when those sides bend, it is possible that if they're not exactly squared off, they can, I don't even know how to demonstrate it. Can we demonstrate with a piece of sandpaper? Oh, it's all stuck together. Well, that didn't work. Instead of, this is going to be a very crude example. Instead of bending, you know, in a perfect, let's just say a U shape, they can get like this. And while it can still be the same shape, you know, they're offset a little bit, and that could present some challenges. Um, you know, so if your sides do get a little wonky, technical term, then yeah, I can totally see it's going to be it could be a little tricky, flattening the uh, the profile. I would say, you know, just take your time. And I know when I built my acoustic, I forget the exact dimensions, but the overall the width of the sides is a couple millimeters less than the plan said, and I think that was because of when I was flattening everything in the radius dish. You know, I had to take off a little bit more than the plan called for, but overall, you know, I didn't see any sort of negative impact, other than the side is a little bit shorter. So, you know, you might just have to take a little bit more off to get it down to where you need to, but, you know, unless you have to go, you know, an excessive amount, and really, I don't even know what an excessive amount would be. You know, if you got to go a little bit less, I think you'd probably be just fine. Now, Wendy, what's going on? Good morning. Wendy says sounds okay to me. Right on. Good. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, look at this. Potential spam. Of course. Another car extended warranty or something. Who knows? Tanmay says, I was hoping to make a MIDI foot pedal to change guitar presets in my DAW. How can I go about building it DIY style? Because on Amazon it's like $250. Let's see. I can tell you that I have not created any sort of MIDI pedals. I have used MIDI. I have several controllers that run off of MIDI, and I have built some looper type pedals, you know, where you connect a bunch of stuff and you can have different, you know, when you step on the pedal, it switches to that effects loop kind of thing. But I don't, I'd have to do a little bit of research on that because, like I said, I've not created any sort of MIDI pedal. I think it would be a really awesome project. And it sounds really like it'd be kind of fun, actually. I guess I don't have a whole lot of excellent suggestions for you on that one. So we're gonna see what everybody else has to say about that. Maybe someone else has bought or has built some sort of MIDI controller. I haven't even researched it, and if I had a computer here in front of me, I would look that up while we're chatting here and see if we can come up with something. But man, I'm sorry, I just don't have any good a good input on that one. Oh, Brian's here. Brian says, hello, everyone. Just got home and have to take the dogs out and fix dinner. Take care, everyone. Have fun and stay safe. Enjoy Earth Day and Record Store Day Saturday. Oh, it's Record Store Day? I haven't been to the record store in years. I guess that's... I'm slacking. In this day and age, you just buy everything digitally and poor record stores. But anyway, Brian, have an awesome evening. Have an awesome evening. Enjoy your dinner and tell everyone hello. Adela says, yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, where the sides are not quite square. Wendy says, flatten the sides with the radius dish. He's talking about he's having trouble flattening the top of the sides in the radius dish, because when the sides bent, they didn't come together exactly even. They were skewed one way or another. So one's a little off. Yeah, I experienced just a teeny bit of that when the ends of mine came together really good, but I had a little bit of I don't remember if it was the upper bow or the lower bow. Had just a little bit of a bow in it. Yeah, he's having some difficulties trying to get it flat due to the sides not quite bending squarely. But Dallo, you'll get it. Just keep at it. If you got to make it a little bit thinner, I don't see any reason why you can't. Another thing, if you haven't glued them in yet, which maybe you have if you're trying to flatten them, I'm wondering if you couldn't moisten, spray it with a little bit of water and like reclamp it in place. Maybe that would help a little bit. But I'm kind of guessing that you've already glued the blocks in, but I could be wrong. And Mike says, potential spam. AKA Mike. Wendy says, the kits are expensive for MIDI. I've never looked into them. I really haven't. I should. Harry Dude says, I've built MIDI stuff before. Not all that difficult. Once you understand the communication protocol, the hardware interface is really easy. Oh, cool. Harry Dude, do you have any resources maybe that were helpful when you were building this stuff? Maybe maybe some places that Tanmay can look for some information. Oh, here dude said look for the Mellow Audio MIDI controller. Maybe probably exactly what you're after. Ooh, interesting. Dallas says, yes, Wendy, I did, but I just got sad because I didn't expect the side width to get shorter than I planned. Yeah, I know the feeling exactly because, like I said, mine it's shorter than what the plan called for by, I don't know, 2 or 3 millimeters. And I know that was due to my driving the bus, as they call it. Sanding it in the radius dish. But and I was worried about it at the time, but then I just said, you know what? I'm just going to move forward and finish this thing. Neptune's is laughing at Mike. Tanmay says, thanks, man. I'll try to research it on the internet. Such an interesting potential project for me. I think it'd be an awesome project to build you a cool MIDI controller, little foot pedal deal. Yeah, I think it'd be a great project. I wish I had some more insight for you on that. I just don't. I've not built anything MIDI. Like I said, I've only used it. I've never tried to build my own controller. Wendy says, the wood will always want to assume the original shape. Yep. Harry Dude says, you'll need to find a microcontroller that can do serial output at 31.25K. MIDI is pretty much open source, and you'll have no problem finding the info. Right on. Right on. Mike says, hey, do you guys have a good cheap source for pickguard material? PVC 3-ply, white, black, white. There are some places, well, there's lots of places online that sell it. I used to get, like, very rarely I've done much with actual pickguard material. I've gotten some from some local music shops before. I used to have one, and they just recently closed down, that I would pick up stuff from. But there's a place I'm trying to think of, and I just can't think of it at the moment. There's a place online that I've seen that has tons of different styles, colors, materials, layers, all tons of different combinations, and I cannot think of the name off the top of my head. Man, hopefully that'll come to me, or maybe one of you guys can put that in there in the comments. I cannot think of it. Huh. Sorry, Mike. I'm going to keep pondering that one, and hopefully it'll come back to me. Tanmay says, how does the guitar truss rod work? Can you tell in detail, please? It might be an easy question and simple to look up on the internet, but I like the way you explain. Well, thank you. I will do my best. Okay. I wish I had one here. hang on. Talk amongst yourselves for a minute. I'm going to step out of frame. I know it's very unprofessional, but I want to try to do this the right way. I'll be right back. Ah! Don't go anywhere. I'm coming back. Here I come. Hopefully I don't kick you when I come by. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. Oh. Sorry about that. Alrighty. We're gonna try to do this. So this is a truss rod. This is the exact, not the exact same truss rod, because, well, but this is identical to the truss rod that I used in my acoustic. I think it's a 14-inch truss rod. If you measure from the nut, it's a 15, or from the adjustment screw, it's 15. Well, 15 and a quarter. Actual truss rod length is 14 and a quarter. So no matter which way you install this, so if you're building kind of a fender style with the headstock adjustable truss rod, or the style that I like to do is the heel adjust truss rod, it's basically gonna work the same. So no matter which way it's oriented in the neck. So you're gonna route the channel. I'm gonna get up to the explanation here, but bear with me. You're gonna route the channel for your truss rod so this will sit down in there, right? So this little rounded dealio is gonna be on the bottom. This is a two-way truss rod. I wanna be clear. There's differences. My preference is a two-way truss rod because, well, you can adjust it in two ways. You can either put the back bow or an up bow, depending on what you want to do. And I find that it's a little easier to get the adjustment you want. So this thing is going to be in the neck. So let's just imagine that this is the top of the neck, this flat surface, because that flat surface is what's facing the fretboard. So when this thing is in the neck, right, and you want to adjust it, so right now you can see it's pretty much dead flat right now. So let's say that you want to put, maybe once you string it up, it's got too much relief, and you want to take that relief out. So if you tighten the truss rod, and this works just like any righty-tighty, lefty-loosey situation. If I tighten this up, this is gonna be hard to do while holding it, but I'm gonna do my best. So you see what happens? It puts a back bow in there. Now imagine this is the top of your fretboard, because that's what it's gonna make your fretboard do. So now under string tension, right, that this thing could, it's going to put more of a back bow in to flatten out your neck. So let's go back to neutral, and I hope you can see this okay. So right now we're back to dead flat. Let's say you string up your guitar and you're getting a lot of string buzz. Maybe the strings are hitting the frets and you need to put a little bit of relief in there. Well, now what you want to do is loosen it. This is hard to do. So if you loosen the truss rod, I don't know if you can see how there's a bit of a swoop in there. And imagine, if this was at the headstock, it's still the same thing. It's still putting a swoop. So righty-tighty will actually put a back bow in it. Lefty-loosey will give it more relief. No matter the orientation, it's still lefty-loosey, righty-tighty to get that same action. If it's a single action truss rod, which again I'm not a fan of because I like the extra adjustability, I believe all you can do is flatten it out. It's not going to pull it into relief. Somebody correct me if I'm saying that backwards. I like the two-way because you can adjust it either way. to get the action exactly, get the relief right where you want to have it. So tighten the rod, which shortens this. Basically, this is kind of like a long bolt underneath here. That's going to shorten it and pull it into a back bow. You're going to loosen it, which will lengthen, basically lengthen this long bolt, let's just call it, which will give it more relief. So in a nutshell, I guess that's how you do it. I hope that hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if you still have other questions on it, but yeah. Let's see. Harry Dude says WD music if you want to buy from the U.S. for the pickguard material. That's one that I was thinking of. There's another one that's a little more special named. It's got kind of a different name. Mike says WD does, but looking for cheaper. Wendy says Stumac, but pricey. Yeah, Stumac. Yep, very pricey. Dastardly Dave, sup all? It actually says wow all, but I know what you mean. I know. I'm with you. What's up, Dave? Henry says, I didn't catch what you're doing with MIDI, but I would probably say Arduino is better bet than Raspberry Pi, similar, because it will have faster processing time without an operating system. Yeah, so the MIDI stuff we were talking about was like trying to build a foot controller, a MIDI foot controller. Tanmay was hoping to try to build one, which sounds like an awesome project. And I was saying that you know, I've used MIDI, but I've never built anything MIDI, so I don't have a whole lot of input on that. You know, basically a MIDI foot controller for a guitar, you know, guitar effects or running a DAW and you know, that sort of thing. So building just kind of a general programmable controller is what it sounds like. Neptune says, the mic, have you checked Amazon? Not sure what cheap is for you, though. Mike says, I figure you all get, I'm guessing it says you get yours from somewhere and would get recommendations of other sites. I currently use WD. Gotcha. I'm going to, very unprofessionally and quickly, try to do a search for pickguard material and see if the site that I had in mind pops up. Yeah, Amazon's got some, of course, StuMac. Guitar Fetish. That is one that has pickguard materials, and that's none that I've heard a lot of people have good luck with them. Guitar Fetish. Well, LMI has it too. It's probably pretty expensive, but maybe not. Yeah, WD, Guitar Parts Factory, Greasy Groove. Never heard of them. Anybody ever heard of them? All kinds of different stuff. That's interesting. What else? StuMac, Amazon. Oh, there it is. Dragonfire Guitars. I haven't priced them, but I have ordered stuff in the past from them. You might check out theirs. Dragonfire Guitars. The pieces I've ordered from them before have been very reasonably priced, and you know, not sponsored or anything, but that's the one I was trying to think of that I have ordered from them, but not their pickguard material. So maybe that's another option. Tanmay says, yes, thank you very much. It's clear. Have been playing guitar since the last 14 years. I had no clue. Really appreciate it. Right on. Well, you're welcome. Hopefully I could shed a little bit of light on that. Mike says, thanks. You're welcome, Mike. Hopefully one of those helps you out. Let us know. Tanmay says, I also believe a myth that before changing the strings, every time I should apply lemon oil. Is this recommended or just a damp cloth would work? To the fretboard, I'm guessing you're talking about. I I have no problem re-oiling the fretboard when I change strings. But a lot of times you can tell, by the look of the fretboard, if it doesn't really look like it's dried out much since the last time, you might not need to do it every time. When I was playing out a lot in the live band situation, I changed my strings a lot more than I do now. So there were times where, I may have only had a set of strings on there for, a week or two, which, still is not all that long. But, so I wouldn't re-oil it every time then. If I was changing strings, and it's only been a week or two, chances are that the fretboard hasn't really dried out. Now, it's months and months between string changes. So I have no problem re-oiling the fretboard when I change strings. I just kind of base it off of how dry it's really getting, and you don't want it to dry out too much. Go years and years without it. But I also don't think that if you change your strings a lot, I don't think you need to change them every week or every night or whatever, depending on how much you're playing out. Adela says, I'm considering the length of the truss rod. I'm going to place the control on the head side and plan to slot only on the neck, not through the body. What length do you prefer? And is there a disadvantage for using the short one or the long one? Really, I think choosing the length really depends on the size of the neck you're making. This short one worked totally fine in my acoustic because, the neck is a little shorter. If I'm building an electric, with a 25.5-inch scale length, I use a longer truss rod than this, which I have some, but this was the quickest one I could grab when I was trying to find it. And obviously a bass guitar, you're going to use an even longer one. I feel like the more of the neck you can span, the better. But, they don't make these in every single dimension available. They make them in a lot. But I just try to choose, if you're working off a plan, I would go with whatever the plan calls for, as close as you can. Just to make sure that, you're staying within the specs. And that's what I did on the acoustic. I just, I used the dimensions that they supplied for the truss rod. But really, as long as it's not too far, how do I say that? If let's say your neck is, I don't know, what did I say this was? 14 and a half? 14 and a quarter. So let's say, if your fretboard was 14, 14 and a half, and then that would give you a quarter inch. That might be cutting it a little short. I don't know if there's like a hard and fast rule that says what size you have to use. I would just be wary of the amount of material left on either end. So in my case, I made it a heel adjustable truss rod. I'm just going to go with my acoustic, for example. So, you got the end that sticks out where you adjust it through the sound hole. You don't want it so long that this is going to stick up into the slot for the nut, right? Because that could kind of mess you up. So it needs to be shorter than that distance, if that makes any sense. And of course, the other way around, if you're doing a headstock adjustable, well, you don't want to put it all the way to the end where it's sticking out the bottom, right? I would just give you a hefty amount at the end and go with whatever you can get the closest size of. I feel like I'm rambling with that, but hopefully that helps. If anybody's aware of a hard and fast rule, I would be more than happy to know. I haven't heard of any sort of rule like that. Is there a disadvantage for using the short one or a long one? I think if you if I were to use this short one here in a kind of Fender scale length style neck, I think this would be too short. You would not get, you kind of want to get it to give you the relief, you know, at around the middle of the middle of the neck, you know, something like what, 7th fret, 9th fret, somewhere in that area. And if I made this at the heel, but the fret, you know, the truss rod stops short at, let's say, I don't know, the 4th fret because I used one that's too short, it's going to change where that relief is put into the neck, I believe. So you want to try to use one that's going to span a good portion of the neck to try to keep the center of that bow, you know, in the center of the neck. Hopefully that makes sense. Tanmay says, how do you feel about Kiesel guitars? I personally have never played one, but what I have seen, they seem like great guitars, and yeah, that's really about all I have to say because I've never used one, but they look good, and they seem, from what I gather, that they seem like they're great quality. Terry's here. Terry says, hello, Jeff. This is the first time I got the live feed. Well, welcome, Terry. Tenmay says, hello, Terry. Right on. Well, I'm glad you could join in. You know, it's just some time.